book people. This is Michael Romeo, and we're here to talk about books. And today we're doing a tag. We're doing the simple Chinese Zodiac book tag. And in my opinion, the word simple in there is questionable because I had a heck of a time with some of this. The basic description of what you're supposed to do here is recommend a book for each of the Chinese zodiac signs. It can be books you have read, books you want to read, books of a single genre, anything goes. So in my case, I aimed for the majority of the books being from the 20th century, since that is the focus of my channel, one of the focuses of my channel, the major one. And I got there. All but three landed smack in the 20th century. I wanted it to be something that me and my wife read or intended to read, and there's only one book that doesn't need any of that, and it's early on, and you'll understand why. For those of you who are not familiar with the Chinese Zodiac, it's a 12-year cycle, and each year is represented by an animal. Chances are, if you've ever eaten in a Chinese restaurant here in America, the placemats have the Chinese Zodiac on it, so you've probably seen it. So we have to match up a book with the animal for each of the 12 cycles. So, that being said, let's start. First one is the rat, the year of the rat. And the book that I chose to represent this one was King Rat by James Clavell. Brilliant book. Folks, if you haven't read it, you really need to read it. It is just absolutely brilliant. It's World War II prison camp in China. And it's the Americans are the prisoners. And it just shows how, even in a situation like that, a society forms, a hierarchy forms. Congealing is not really the right word, but it comes together, and a sense of order forms even in a prison camp. That is not related to what the prison keepers are wanting for order. And it is a great book, possible to read in one sitting. It's not very long. I know I read it really fast, and I'm not a fast reader. And that book came out in 1962. So right there in the 20th century, one of my 20th century books. The second one is the one that did not meet any of my personal criteria. None of it. It's The Ox. And I could not come up with a book that reflected the ox in any way, shape, or form. So I Googled it, and I finally found one that I might read if I came across it, and I didn't have anything else urgent that I wanted to get read. It's a 2019 book called The Ox, the Authorized Biography of John Entwistle by Paul Rees. John Entwistle is the bassist for The Who, and it's his life story. It's a biography. But that was the only one that I got completely stumped on and could not come up with anything. It was The Ox, so I had to Google to get help on that one. The next one is The Tiger, and I only had one way to go with this one. 1926, Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Who doesn't love Tigger? After all, Tigger's bounce, right? That was a no-brainer for me. When it said Tiger, the first thing I came up with was Winnie the Pooh. Then we have The Year of the Rabbit. And for this one, I used a series, the Rabbit series by John Updike. It's a 5-book series that the first one came out in 1960. The last one came out in 2002. following the character Rabbit, who is a businessman. If I believe, I haven't read any of them yet, but they're on my to read list. Um, Three of them won the Pulitzer Prize in the year that they were released, and that's another reason for me to read them, because I have that project going to read all the Pulitzer Prize fiction. So three of the 5 books won Pulitzer Prizes. So the Rabbit series for Rabbit. And then the next year of the cycle is The Dragon. And in 1937, J.R.R. Tolkien gave us The Hobbit, and The Hobbit gave us Smaug, the dragon, who was hoarding his precious gold. And I think Smaug is a cool character in the book and in the movie. Benedict Cumberbatch does a great voiceover for Smaug in the movie. So The Hobbit gave us the dragon for this particular exercise. The snake. I took a little bit of liberty here, because, well, if you want to say that I'm associating a book with it, the book would be The Treasury of Modern Mysteries, which was published in 1973. But the reason I chose that book is because in it is a short story from 1972 that was also published in Ellery Queen mystery magazine, called There Are No Snakes in Ireland. And folks, if you want a story that'll make your spine tingle, this is one. It's a young man from India working on a construction site in Ireland, who is the brunt of bullying from the native Irishmen, and he finds a way to get his revenge. And that's just all I'm going to say, because what he does and how it backfires makes it for a terrifying story. Okay, it really just creeped me out, and I closed the book and threw it on the another chair away from me, because it just was yuck. But great story. Frederick Forsythe wrote it. If any of you are familiar with Day of the Jackal and several other wonderful bestsellers from the 20th century, he's the brain behind There Are No Snakes in Ireland. So there we have, for this one, the snake. The next up is The Horse. And I got this one from my wife, because I came up with some horse ones, but I wasn't really happy with them. And she said one that she read when she was a kid, it was one of her favorites, was Misty of Chincoteague. And it's a 1947 book by Margaurite Henry about a horse trainer who wants to raise the foal of wild horses. And for those of you who don't know, Chincoteague Chincoteague Island, off the coast of Virginia, is a place of wild horses. There's just this herd of wild horses that live there. It was made into a movie in the 60s called Misty, but the book is Misty of Chincoteague, and I'm not going to say anything about it again, because that makes my teeth hurt when I say that word. Then we have For Goat, The Year of the Goat. There is a movie that I love, and if you have been following me or have seen a random video here or there, you know that as well as my Pulitzer Prize project, I also have the project going of I've seen the movie, but I've never read the book. And in this case, the movie that I've seen and the book that I've still to read is The Men Who Stare at Goats by Jon Ronson. The movie is hysterically funny, and I love the movie. I watched it I don't know how many times, and I'm looking forward to reading the book at some point. But the Men Who Stare at Goats gives us our matchup for the Year of the Goat in the cycle. And then for the and the year that came out was 2004, so it was close to the 20th century. It was really close. It's about the 20th century, if that helps. Yeah, it's about the 20th century. Um, then we have the Year of the Monkey, and what jumped right into my head was The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum from 1900 with the flying monkeys. The Wicked Witch's flying monkeys. The terror of children through generations. And what else is there to say about that? And then we have the Year of the Rooster. And I went with 1968's True Grit by Charles Portis, because of one of the main characters, Rooster Cogburn. And in the movie and in the book, both of which I love, I just love it when he pulls the guns out of his holsters and tells his adversary, "Fill your hands, you son of a bitch." I just think it's a perfect placement for a perfect sentence. And the book True Grit is a work of literature. And the movie with John Wayne is a lot of fun. I've never seen the remake, simply because it's a Coen Brothers movie. And I just don't tend to like the Coen Brothers movies. So I've not felt this need to watch it. Maybe someday. I'll see. Then we have, getting close to the end here, The Year of the Dog. One of my favorite books when I was a little lad. It was a book that was originally published in 1942. No, I didn't read it when it was brand new. Stop that. I was born in the 60s. But it was The Pokey Little Puppy by Jeanette Sebring Lowry. And it's one of the golden books. For those of you who grew up with golden books, I think they still have them, or they've revived them or something. But The Pokey Little Puppy, it gives us the one for the Year of the Dog. And finally, we have The Year of the Pig. And for this one, I chose a 1952 book called Charlotte's Web by E.B. White, another childhood favorite, in which a spider uses her web to weave messages about how brilliant Wilbur, is it Wilbur the pig? I can't remember the pig's name. Isn't that terrible? I think Wilbur was Green Acres, now that I think of it. But anyway, weaves messages about how marvelous the pig is to try to get it to be able to win the county fair. And so Charlotte, the spider, plugging the pig for the Year of the Pig. And that's all 12 of them. And there's some books in here you need to read. You really need to read King Rat. That's a book. Man, that's a book. Okay, I think I said earlier, I'm not sure if I said earlier, but the original tag of this was given to us by Tim's Too Many Books, and I will put a link to Tim down below. I was tagged by Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads. You'll also see a tag for Greg down below. Please check out their channels. They're worthwhile channels. They're entertaining. They're informative. They're fun. I mean, just when you see Greg doing this exercise, you can tell he's having a hell of a good time. And who am I tagging? I am tagging 5 people. I never tag 5 people. I must be getting, I don't know, a little more straightforward with my tags here. But I am tagging Big Hard Books and Classics. You're on stage. Let's see your answers, Big Hard Books and Classics. Micah Cummins, because Micah Cummins reads mostly classics and history. And I can't wait to see what he comes up with for answers from those books. Red Bright Fred, similar. He is, his interests are more science and his also history related. And I want to see what he gets pulling from his shelves or pulling from his TBR to come up with answers to match these prompts. Tangible reads. I haven't tagged you in a while, darling. So let's see what you got to say about these 12 wonderful prompts. And then another one I haven't tagged in a while is Flo from Grape Jelly Library. I think you can give us some good answers on these. So that's 5 people. Bunch more. Big Hard Books and Classics. Micah Cummins, Read by Fred, Tangible Reads, and Grape Jelly Library. Watch for their responses. Okay? And as is for me, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave comments down below. You know I love comments. You know I like to reply to them. You know that it's one of the reasons I do this, is to have that interaction. And if you haven't ever subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and you get notices just when whenever I post new content, so you won't miss anything wonderful that I do. And let's face it, I do some pretty wonderful stuff. I think so anyway. The dogs think so. I mean, she's sleeping over here, so I guess she's not that impressed. And Toby, you want to come up? Come on, Toby. Yeah, it's Toby. Toby is the one who's my neck rest. Yeah, aren't you? People saw that in the last video that I did. How you just curled up on top of my shoulders and gave my neck some warmth. Yeah. And the rest of the pack is here too. I also got to show off Tetley. Tetley, my little baby girl. She looks tiny, but she's full grown. She is a teacup Yorkie, and she is the sweetest little baby on the face of the earth. And then TARDIS is over here in the chair beside me going, no, she's not. I am. And then down on the floor at my feet is Trappist, and that's the pack. And on that note, we say have a great day. Talk to y'all later.